The Oklahoma City bombing was a domestic terrorist truck bombing on the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building 1, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, United States, on April 19, 1995. Perpetrated by domestic terrorists Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, the bombing happened at 9:02 a.m. and killed at least 168 people, injured more than 680 others, and destroyed one-third of the building. 3. The blast destroyed or damaged 324 other buildings within a 16-block radius, shattered glass in 258 nearby buildings, and destroyed or burned 86 cars, 5, causing an estimated $652 million worth of damage. 6. Local, state, federal, and worldwide agencies engaged in extensive rescue efforts in the wake of the bombing, and substantial donations were received from across the country. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, activated 11 of its urban search and rescue task forces, consisting of 665 rescue workers who assisted in rescue and recovery operations. 7-8. Until the September 11 attacks in 2001, the Oklahoma City bombing was the deadliest terrorist attack in the history of the United States, and remains the deadliest incident of domestic terrorism in the country's history. Within 90 minutes of the explosion, McVeigh was stopped by Oklahoma Highway Patrolman Charlie Hanger for driving without a license plate and arrested for illegal weapons possession. 9-10. Forensic evidence quickly linked McVeigh and Nichols to the attack. Nichols was arrested. 11. And within days, both were charged. Michael and Lori Fortier were later identified as accomplices. McVeigh, a veteran of the Gulf War and a U.S. militia movement sympathizer, had detonated a Ryder rental truck full of explosives parked in front of the building. His co-conspirator, Nichols, had assisted with the bomb's preparation. Motivated by his dislike for the U.S. federal government and unhappy about its handling of the Ruby Ridge incident in 1992 and the Waco siege in 1993, McVeigh timed his attack to coincide with the second anniversary of the deadly fire that ended the siege at the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. 12-13. The official investigation, known as Oak Bomb, saw FBI agents conduct 28,000 interviews, amass 3.5 short tons, 3,200 kilograms, of evidence, and collect nearly 1 billion pieces of information. 14-15-16, the bombers were tried and convicted in 1997. McVeigh was executed by lethal injection on June 11, 2001 at the U.S. Federal Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana, and Nichols was sentenced to life in prison in 2004. Michael and Lori Fortier testified against McVeigh and Nichols. Michael was sentenced to 12 years in prison for failing to warn the United States government, and Lori received immunity from prosecution in exchange for her testimony. As a result of the bombing, the U.S. Congress passed the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act of 1996, which tightened the standards for habeas corpus in the United States. 17. As well as legislation designed to increase the protection around federal buildings to deter future terrorist attacks. On April 19, 2000, the Oklahoma City National Memorial was dedicated on the site of the Murrah Federal Building, commemorating the victims of the bombing. Remembrance services are held every year on April 19, at the time of the explosion. The chief conspirators, Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, met in 1988 at Fort Benning during basic training for the U.S. Army. 18. Michael Fortier, McVeigh's accomplice, was his Army roommate. 19. The three shared interests in survivalism. 2021, they expressed anger at the federal government's handling of the 1992 Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, standoff with Randy Weaver at Ruby Ridge as well as the Waco siege, a 1993 51-day standoff between the FBI and Branch Davidian members which began with a botched Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, attempt to execute a search warrant leading to a firefight and ended with the burning and shooting deaths of David Koresh and 75 others. 22. In March 1993, McVeigh visited the Waco site during the standoff, and then again after its conclusion. 23. McVeigh later decided to bomb a federal building as a response to the raids. 13-24-25-26. McVeigh later said that he had contemplated assassinating Attorney General Janet Reno, Lon Horiuchi, and others in preference to attacking a building. 25. And after the bombing he said that he sometimes wished he had carried out a series of assassinations instead. 27. He initially intended only to destroy a federal building, but he later decided that his message would be better received if many people were killed in the bombing. 28. McVeigh's criterion for potential attack sites was that the target should house at least 2 of 3 federal law enforcement agencies, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, or the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA. He regarded the presence of additional law enforcement agencies, such as the Secret Service or the U.S. Marshals Service, as a bonus. 29. A resident of Kingman, Arizona, McVeigh considered targets in Missouri, Arizona, Texas, and Arkansas. 29. He stated in his authorized biography that he wanted to minimize non-governmental casualties, so he ruled out a 40-story building in Little Rock, Arkansas, because of the presence of a florist's shop on the ground floor. 30. In December 1994, McVeigh and Fortier visited Oklahoma City to inspect McVeigh's target, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building. 24. The Murrah Building had been previously targeted in October 1983 by white supremacist group The Covenant, The Sword, and the Arm of the Lord, including founder James Ellison and Richard Snell. The group had plotted to park a van or trailer in front of the federal building and blow it up with rockets detonated by a timer. 31. After Snell's appeal for murdering 2 people in unrelated cases was denied, he was executed the same day as the Murrah bombing. 32. The 9-story building, built in 1977, was named for a federal judge and housed 14 federal agencies, including the DEA, ATF, Social Security Administration, and recruiting offices for the Army and Marine Corps. 33. The Murrah Building was chosen for its glass front, which was expected to shatter under the impact of the blast, and its adjacent large, open parking lot across the street, which might absorb and dissipate some of the force, and protect the occupants of nearby non-federal buildings. 30. In addition, McVeigh believed that the open space around the building would provide better photo opportunities for propaganda purposes. 30. The attack was planned to take place on April 19, 1995, to coincide with the 2nd anniversary of the Waco siege and the 220th anniversary of the battles of Lexington and Concord. 34. McVeigh and Nichols purchased or stole the materials they needed to manufacture the bomb, which they stored in rented sheds. In August 1994, McVeigh obtained 9 kinesticks from gun collector Roger E. Moore, and ignited the devices with Nichols outside Nichols's home in Harrington, Kansas. 35-36. On September 30, 1994, Nichols bought 40 50-pound, 23 kilograms, bags of ammonium nitrate fertilizer from Mid-Kansas Coop in McPherson, Kansas, enough to fertilize 12.5 acres, 5.1 hectares, of farmland at a rate of 160 pounds, 73 kilograms, of nitrogen per acre. 4 hectares, an amount commonly used for corn. Nichols bought an additional 50-pound, 23 kilograms, bag on October 18, 1994. 24. McVeigh approached Fortier and asked him to assist with the bombing project, but he refused. 37-38. McVeigh and Nichols then robbed Moore in his home of $60,000 worth of guns, gold, silver, and jewels, transporting the property in the victim's van. 37. McVeigh wrote a letter to Moore in which he claimed that the robbery had been committed by government agents. 39. Items stolen from Moore were later found in Nichols's home and in a storage shed that he had rented. 40-41. In October 1994, McVeigh showed Michael Fortier and his wife, Lori, a diagram he had drawn of the bomb he wanted to build. 42. McVeigh planned to construct a bomb containing more than 5,000 pounds, 2,300 kilograms, of ammonium nitrate fertilizer, mixed with about 1,200 pounds, 540 kilograms, of liquid nitromethane and 350 pounds, 160 kilograms, of Tovex. Including the weight of the 1655 U.S. gallon drums in which the explosive mixture was to be packed, the bomb would have a combined weight of about 7,000 pounds, 3,200 kilograms. 43. McVeigh had originally intended to use hydrazine rocket fuel, but it proved to be too expensive. 37. During the Chief Auto Parts Nationals National Hot Rod Association Drag Racing Championship Series event at the Texas Motorplex, McVeigh posed as a motorcycle racer and initially attempted to purchase 55 U.S. gallon, 46 imp gal, 210 liters, drums of nitromethane on the pretense that he and some fellow bikers needed the fuel for racing, despite the lack of nitromethane-powered motorcycles at the meeting, and not having an NHRA competitor's license. Denied by one representative, Steve LeSueur. Due to LeSueur's suspicions of McVeigh's actions and attitudes, he was then permitted to purchase 3 barrels from another representative, Tim Chambers. 44. Chambers questioned the purchase of 3 barrels when typically only 1 to 5 gallons of nitromethane, he noted, would be purchased by a top fuel Harley rider, even though the class was not raced that weekend. LeSueur reported the incident to the FBI immediately after rejecting McVeigh's request. McVeigh rented a storage space in which he stockpiled 7 crates of 18-inch long, 46 centimeters, Tovex sausages, 80 spools of shock tube, and 500 electric blasting caps, which he and Nichols had stolen from a Martin Marietta aggregates quarry in Marion, Kansas. He decided not to steal any of the 40,000 pounds, 18,000 kilograms, of ANFO, ammonium nitrate/fuel oil, he found at the scene, as he did not believe it to be powerful enough, although he did obtain 17 bags of ANFO from another source for use in the bomb. McVeigh made a prototype bomb which was detonated in the desert to avoid detection. 45.